Hello and welcome to a Paper Flourish craft video. My name is Julie. I'm going to make today a slimline steampunk Lavinia card. This is a piece of multifarious cardstock and I've cut this 3.5 inches across by 7.5 inches down. Stamp press. I'm going to place it on the stamp press. Sticky grid sheet. Attach that, just helps to hold the cardstock in place, as does the magnets. I'm going to use the Steampunk script stamp from Lavinia, and I'm just going to place a scrap piece of paper just underneath the top corner because a little bit of the script is going to end up on the scrap paper. Just going to catch the corner, position that, pick it up on the stamp press. Now I'm going to ink this up with Nocturne Versafine Clair ink, the black pigment ink. Bring it over. I've got my pink fresh stamp press tool to get a really nice even pressure over the stamp. I also find it a lot easier on my wrists as well. And that's Stamp Fine. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom corner. The stamp now has some ink on it, so I find the easiest way to do this is I've got a piece of acetate, place that down over the card, and because this has got ink on it, I can position it ready in place down on that bottom corner. Any excess ink on the stamp ends up on the acetate. Pick it up, take the acetate away. You can clean that up with a baby wipe, and then let's stamp this in place on the bottom corner. This is an anti-static pad, and if I run that over the front of the card, it's going to make sure that the embossing powder only sticks to the stamped area and not the rest of the card. Done. Stamp press again. Now I'm thinking of having the same stamp, which is this one. This is Tick. Gorgeous clock. I'm thinking of having this stamped in different colours, or embossed in different colours on the card front. So I'm going to position this in place. Pick it up on the stamp press. Now I've got already on the side, I've got different embossing powders waiting to go here. I'm going to first up do one in silver, and I've got a folded piece of paper there which I can use to collect any excess powder and tip it back into the jar. Versamark Embossing Ink Pad, inking up the clock. I've popped it on the stamp press. I want to make sure I get a really good strong clear impression of the clock. So I'm going to do that twice. Now you do need to work fairly quickly here to get the embossing powder onto the image before that ink dries. Let's take the card off. And the silver embossing powder. Once the embossing powder's on, you've got a bit of time then. So that's given a really good strong impression of the clock. Just tip this back in to place. I'm going to set that embossing powder with my heat tool. I've gone ahead and stamped and embossed the clock in different colours of embossing powder. There they are. So I'll just let you know what colours I used. Superfine black, the Ranger embossing powder for the corners. I use the Princess Gold for the large clock here, and I'll put another one just off the side there. So I've been stamping sort of on and off the card. Rose Gold is this gorgeous one here. Superfine white. So there's a white clock here and one up in the corner. And then, of course, the silver one, which I did first. This one here. Now to do the ink blending, I'm going to use some Distress Oxide ink pads. First one I've got here is Peacock Feathers. I have my Ranger blending tool with the dome sponge on the end, and I'm going to blend this completely over the card. That's starting to look better already. I've got a paper towel here, And I'm just going to go back over all the embossed areas and wipe the Peacock Feathers ink off those embossed areas. So now they're going to stand out better again. See, hey, just wipe it away. But it leaves that ink in the background. I can still see the Steampunk script stamp in the background, still showing through, but suddenly the card's coming to life. Now we've added some colour to it. I'll pop Peacock Feathers away. I have a stencil on the side here. Bring it over. This is one of the newer stencils, and this is Honeycomb. I'm going to place this over the card front. I've got a large stencil brush and Walnut Stain Distress Oxide. And I'm just going to ink up the large stencil brush, take some of the excess away, and I'm just going to stencil lightly over the whole card. What's happening? So now I'm getting that little bit of interest happening in the background. We are. Now, same thing, I'm going to get my paper towel and wipe that excess ink off the clocks. So see how here it's on the white clock? As soon as I wipe it, it'll come away, leaving the clocks nice and clear again. But the stenciling stays in the background. It's looking pretty cool. There we go. And the embossing makes those clocks show up beautifully on the card. Distress Oxide Unchartered Mariner. I'm going to use this ink to blend around the card edges. This is the medium size stencil brush. It's the Series 7. And I'm just going to lightly catch the edges as I go around. The same thing, I'll use my paper towel afterwards to wipe any excess ink, any of that ink off the clocks. I did end up bringing the blending in a little bit on the card, so not only the edges, I came in a little bit as well. I found that looked nice to have that slightly darker outside. Let's bring those clocks back. Just taking that Uncharted Mariner just off the clocks. We are. I'm going to add some words to the card, and this stamp set is called Words of Steam. I'm going to use Steampunk and TikTok. So I'm going to stamp those. This time I've just got my Lavinia acrylic board. And I'm going to stamp them in Twilight Versafine Clair. It's a great colour which will blend in really well to the colours I've ended up using on the card. Here are the words all stamped out with that Twilight ink. I've fussy cut around them, pop some mounting tape on the back, and I'm going to stick these into place on the card. Here's my completed Steampunk card. The card measures 4 by 8 slimline card, and I've got a black cardstock mat underneath. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be back soon with more videos. Thank you. Bye.